Yeah, what is up, guys? Today we'd like to talk about my life, and I want to just take a look at my finances and what my prospects are for the near future. So let's get right into it. My finances right now, I'm working in a job. I'm in my early 20s, and I'm trying to capture all of the expenses I have in order to figure out what it takes for me in order to just be completely independent and then do whatever I want. And when we take a look at what I'm spending my money on, is basically living, tech, and experiences. Experience is not really yet, but yeah, essentially it's just living in tech. So yeah, we got food, we got rent, and yeah, I'm paying rent even though I would have the ability to live at home, but I just wanna face the reality of having to pay rent and just put some pressure on myself to actually figure out how I can make it possible to just afford my rent, because that's essentially what you want to achieve. Because if you can afford rent and you can afford food, you can essentially do whatever you want. And this is the freedom I'm craving for. I'm really craving for it, because there are some things that I want to do that do not have the ability to give me money, not inherently, and therefore, yeah, I just need to figure out a way of how I can, cover all these expenses, so I can spend my time on things. Even there might even be some things that later down the line might give me some money, but initially they're just risky, because it is not certain that I will get any money from it, and most of the time you need the money right now in order to just cover your expenses. So I guess what I'm kind of going out for here. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm just trying to figure out what I need, and yeah, and yeah, I've written down here what are the things that I'm really interested in. I just want to figure out in my life right now, and these are finance, science, and music. Music is essentially just something. I would kind of compare it even to some kind of drug, some natural drug. It's just I think some natural part of humans. Then we get science. It's essentially the rules we live by, and so yeah, that's kind of why I think yeah, I want to spend more time understanding it, because if you fall down some kind of tower, then you will die, and yeah, you can then actually see that you will die because of the science behind it, because of the gravitational forces, and so therefore I feel like it's kind of obligational for someone to figure out what's it all about. And finance, and I've written social here because I think these two things intertwine a bit. I mean, you might be really into numbers, so then the social part is probably not that relevant to finance. But in my opinion, these two things are equally, they're kind of in the same corner, because if you want to do something, if you want to have you make the thing that you're doing sustainable, or if you want to just want to have the resources to do something, you need finances, and finances come from essentially political parts of society, and therefore I feel like these two things really intertwine. So yeah, the explanation really suck right now, but let's just continue. I just want to want to get through this here. How I contribute value to the economy. Essentially, I just want to write code, because when I was young, I was always kind of into computers, and that's kind of why I started getting into this field. And yeah, I'm really grateful that it did turn out this way, because I think coding is really awesome, because it's a low risk and easy scale, at least in theory, a low risk and easy scale kind of thing, and therefore I feel like yeah, I don't have to risk that much when I want to go into it. Into through a independent endeavor where I'm like trying to provide value using that, because yeah. And why do I even put that up here? Essentially because I feel like we need to figure out how we can sustain the living that I was referring to, and therefore we need to just figure out how we can, and when we think about what we need and when we live, well, essentially we need money, but when you think about it in a more theoretical sense, then essentially all you need to do is provide some kind of value to someone. It could be anyone, and we can just actually nail down. We just do not need to provide value to the person that is actually then giving us the things we need for a living. For instance, we do not need to provide any value to the person who we're renting the apartment from. We can essentially take a look at someone that where the effort is lower for us. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Obviously, that's just how economy works. But I think we need to really think about this when we try to understand. When we want to try to understand how is it as easy as possible for us to essentially sustain a living, or to just get the resources in order to essentially live by. And therefore I feel like we need to really emphasize on how we can find something where there's a low entry barrier, where we can use something like coding, which like I already said has a low risk and is most of the time easy to scale. And yeah, this is just what I want to go about. And yeah, this is like the second part here. And what are my intentions for the next few years? What I want to do with the free time I've got. I already talked about I just want to do things that might not make that much economic value, and therefore that I want to have this freedom. I just want to have the freedom. But on the other side, I also want to, as corny as it sounds, explore the world, as I mentioned here. And I just want to see different environments. I want to figure out how they are, how I'm acting in them, like what kind of how different things are perceived there, how different people interact with the economy they have got and whatnot. And yeah, for that I just want to be location independent. And here comes the coding part again. Essentially, all you really need for coding is obviously a laptop and a good internet connection. So yeah, therefore, all I would need is just a phone or laptop, and I've written down Starlink here. Just need a good internet connection, and I can Starlink this. I have this kind of theory in my head where I'm just commuting around or traveling around using only these three things, and I can completely run all of my life or get all of the resources I need for sustaining a living. And yeah, that's a thought that I've had in my head for quite some time. I just want to make this reality. And yeah, I've already covered this. I want to test my capabilities within different environments, changing environments. I think like we're constantly, especially when it comes to business, like you always need to adapt to different situations. So therefore, putting yourself into new situations, putting yourself stress on there is kind of training the muscle in you that enables you to become someone who is, adapting easily. And therefore, I feel like it's just also a skill you would learn when you're in different new situations with like, for instance, surrounded by people who speak your language you are not speaking or not. And yeah, so this is like the first part that like I've put a wall here. This is supposed to be a wall because I've got two things here. I've got XP and like I've got number one. This is the thing that I want to do for now, and this is the thing that I want to do later on. I mean, I want to still build stuff. I mean, it's essential for essentially, providing enough value to the economy. So I still want to obviously focus on that as well. But for right now, the focus is right on XP, on exploring the world and seeing different things. Because yeah, I just want to make use of this independence that I got right now, and yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about here. And what do I mean with like build actually? So essentially, I want to study some actual tech, and yeah, try to solve real issues in the world. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but that's just something I want to do later on after I've gotten enough experience points, I guess. And yeah, and the question now that comes to mind is obviously how can we sustain? How can we make this possible with XP? How can we get enough experience? And for that, I've written down this here: solve the business issues, the simple ones. And yeah, I just want to focus on something that is really easy to solve here in the economy right now. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, or what I've been trying to do the past 2 years. Just for reference, I'm like 22 years now. 22 years. that's what I kind of been doing the past 2 years. Like I've essentially tried to solve business issues, like local business issues. But for the most part, I was working at a job. It was just a regular job. I was doing some software stuff. I was kind of, you could consider me like a web developer, like doing front end, back end, and yeah. So just gonna put that down here as well. These are the things that I'm sorry for. So these are the two things I've been mostly focusing on the past few years. And before all that, I was going to school where I kind of learned about software engineering and stuff like that. I'm really grateful with that because I think it's a valuable skill right now. Maybe not in a few years when AI has completely taken over or whatnot. But these are the two things that I've done, and my trajectory or what I want to go for. Like I've already, like within 1 month, I'm gone from the job. That's something I need to write down here. So let's put this in red. I've got no job anymore, and put this in probably in green because we want to have some stocks here. Yeah, this is like my trajectory right now. I want to be completely independent, location-wise, and location independent. That's not just how we call it. So, and my goal to do this, or like my ultimate end goal, is to just build a SaaS tool, like the typical, it's like the typical end game for everyone in the tech bubble, I guess, to build some kind of SaaS tool and live off of it essentially. And it doesn't need to be like like a big company with a big moat around it, or it's just obviously I don't have these insane goals because that's just unrealistic. What is realistic is me solving essentially business issues for certain niche industries, and therefore just having enough money, having the for reference, when we take a look at living, it's around 1,000 euros right now for me that I'm requiring every month, and yeah, that's just for reference, and that's like what I'm focusing on essentially. I want to cover these, and then I'm essentially when these are covered, I just need a bit more money in order to just afford traveling essentially, and then the dream or the goal of being location independent would be fulfilled. So that's about it. I think I've talked about everything here, and the next video is going to be about a closer look onto my finances, of like what I'm actually spending money on. And I've got a system where I'm tracking stuff. I in my day-to-day life, I actually don't want to invest that much time into it. That's why I kind of try to automate this stuff, in order to focus the most on actually building value and make it easy to just only have these three things. I want to have these covered. Like finance is something I want to rather automate. Music is something that it's just some leisure activity, and science is something that I want to spend the most time with, and I want to tackle the most. I want to have the freedom to spend the most time on, and this is kind of what I'm going for, and so I guess see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Peace out.